myself, like, if that's as fast as they think they can go,
Yeah.
I probably don't want to see what it looks like if they try to go faster.
Well, and if you live in a popular area where you got people moving in, it might be their first winter. You never know.
True.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I find around here, because, we get quite a lot of snow and it comes all of a sudden without really expecting. So the first snow of the year could be, inches and inches of snow. So the first couple times that happens, everybody's way slower and the roads are way in bad condition, I'll say, and lots of traffic and stuff. But then everybody kind of figures it out after the first couple times, and then everything goes back to normal.
That's good.
It's nice.
Good. Okay, we're nearly back. We are nearly back.
Yeah, look at that. I see waveform. I see visualizer. I love it.
We did it, boys. Sorry about that.
It says, the text, though, it might be wrong. It says Linux Unplugged.
What is this?
Whoa.
Ooh, this is a fun shot. I like it. I'm here for it.
I like how you've organized this.
I like that we get double Chris head. That's kind of my favorite. I think this is the shot for the shot.
Yeah, just keep it. You got us in the foreground and the background.
It's impressive.
It's our patented quad and a half shot. We only get that here, so
Yeah. Chris is disembodied in both shots.
I'm really rather befuddled by this development.
As an audio podcast, is working great, though.
Do you think maybe if you try to lock up the system a second time, it'll undo the change, or it'll stack more windows on top?
So what about these ones? No, that's fine. That's good. Why is it just one shot? What is that about?
A cursed shot.
What about me? Do I have a shot of just me anymore? I don't even know if I have a shot of just me anymore. Okay, I do, and that's not double.
Hey,
up.
handsome.
It's just this one. Just this one's doubled up. I must be, the director must be included in the group shot for some reason, but all I did was switch from Firefox to Brave. I didn't change any other settings.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, okay. All right. But I think I have a maneuver for this. I think what I can do is I can create a new group and I will move.
You see, folks, this was why, 6 years ago we decided audio only.
Yeah. Okay. So now I don't know if that means
we'd be done with the show.
Yeah, that's so true.
No, we're still warming up. We're still.
I don't know.
We're still warming up.
Brent could have learned about this cool new feature already. No, I'm just kidding.
Dude,
it's starting to cool off at this point.
Yeah.
All right, so I think I put it in group 2. So if I do scene 2 and I hit OK, amazing. Whoa, no.
Oh,
now
you hit the selfish button.
Problem fixed.
Gosh.
Problem fixed. I guess this is problem solved now. Okay, so I'm clearly in scene 2. I'm putting together what it's doing. It's putting me in scene 2 clearly. All right, so and I've moved you now to scene 3, and I'm in. So I think I'm in 2, and I'll be in 3.
I watch a live stream sometimes.
What is that?
Dapper Dinosaur, and anytime that Dapper messes up the stream, they call it Dapper is a professional, and then he has to take a drink. So
the thing that's not fair is all I did is just switch to Brave.
That's a brave move. Hey,
and I think
you ready?
I think you suggested Brave, so it's probably your fault.
That's true.
I am currently using it to send a video to you.
So it's could not start video. So now I've reloaded Brave. Haven't changed anything, but now we can't do video. Are you kidding me? And now I think is video working?
I just got you back.
It looks strangely normal.
Huh. But now I'm in. Okay. All right.
Should we just do the show on Tuesday?
It is. What are you talking about? This is Tuesday. Oh, right. None of my shots are. Right. Right. This is why we need interns. What am I going to be doing this for? Am I going to be hassling with this aggravation for 20 years?
That Jeff's accurately pointed out that you're getting the sweet Windows 9X era style.
With solitaire.
Man, as a kid, I spent so much time. That was so great.
Yeah, and that was the best part of problems like that. Move the windows around. Computers, dude. For something that's ones and zeros and only ones and zeros, it sure feels like things are a little random. Like that Brave thing there. That just seems a little random.
Right. It's a whole thing of like, oh, it's only a pseudo-random number generator, guys. It's not true random, but clearly they've just never worked with professional AV production.
Yeah. It's truly random.
So you just seed your Python random number generator with an OBS pipewire capture stream, and turns out 100% true random.
Do you guys have a holiday? That'd be a great boost to the launch. Do you guys have a holiday movie tradition you try to watch?
Nothing I like aim for. There are various movies I'm happy if they pop on.
Yeah.
My mom likes to watch It's a Wonderful Life, so sometimes I'll do that one.
I mean, I probably every other year
Jimmy Stewart.
watch the old cartoon version of the Grinch.
Oh,
yeah, that's my father's thing. We sit down every year for him watching that.
Yeah, it's 25 minutes. It's easy.
Noise.
I think there are some that consider Star Trek Generations a Christmas movie because when Picard goes to the Nexus, it's during Christmas.
Oh, you're right. That's a great. Okay, maybe I might adopt that one.
And
Can we do a watch party?
And for some reason, I know some podcasters that consider Wrath of Khan a Christmas movie, but I'm not quite sure why they think that. But I love it. But yeah, Generations is clearly because it's the only Star Trek movie that has a Christmas scene. So obvious.
We do. We also do Die Hard and
Die Hard. Yeah,
Griswold's Christmas, of course.
Die Hard's a good one.
Oh yeah, Lord of the Rings marathons. Those can be fun during the holidays time.
Sure.
You just want something on in the background all day. That is true.
Do I have a chat shot? Okay, good. All right, I'll see quickly if I have a snack. I doubt it, but then we'll get started. I'll be right back.
Ooh, a chat shot.
Oh, that's a sexy chat.
It almost harkens back to the days of yore with IRC on the stream. Not quite, but. Oh yeah, a JB watch party. That's a fun idea.
Magnolia, you have a black kitty as your profile photo, and I love you for it.
This is bias. This is just outright favoritism.
I'm fine with it if you are.
Oh yeah, Jeff's right. Yeah, Harry Potter for background stuff for holidays. Good. There's snow and castles and a lot of bells. So that's got holiday vibes for sure. And a lot of feasting.
I think I might actually have made a note of Christmas movies and like pseudo non-Christmas movies, some that slightly mention Christmas. That's enough.
I kind of like putting on the YouTube channel Anti-Chef sometimes over the holidays because there is a lot of cooking and he does interesting, like a lot of Julie Child recipes or just various other sort of more complicated and difficult stuff that he hasn't tried before than what I'm making. And so it always makes me feel better about whatever it is project I'm working on.
I could definitely do this because look what he's doing.
Yeah, like turkey juice all over the whole kitchen and, I'm doing good.
And you're doing okay. I'm sure he likes it. Okay, I typed in Christmas as a search through my notes. I got a couple things here. Christmas light testing for burnt bulbs. The secret trick to finding faults. That's a good one. I have Christmas music and then also Christmas music for my brother because those are two very different things. Mom versus brother music.
Do you have a sample from each?
Yeah, let's see here. So Christmas music, I got wow, James Brown Christmas. That's a good one. Duke Ellington does something based on Nutcracker, which is also a good one. Looks like Mel Torme has an album that I've recorded here. Not sure why. But that Hey America, James Brown Christmas is highly recommended.
Well, a handful of pretzels and a caffeine pill.
Dude. That's like travel style.
It is, isn't it?
And then you just need a tiny little bottle of booze and you're set.
Oh, you're right. All right, gentlemen. I'm swallowing, but I'm ready.
Wait, we're doing a show still? Is that what's
Maybe.
Okay.
Kind of preferred your idea of tearing down the studio.
Right?
We should just do that now.
I love the idea that Chris is just like, all right. And then he drops from the stream.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, bye.
Here we go.
Wes, get to the studio. Quick, help him.
The thing is, one of the things I would like to do is get Hypervibe in a state where I could do Hyperland on Airmaster.
Well, yeah. Well, it's a good motivating reason to, do whatever cursive elbow grease you need to do to get it across the line.
To get Nick Station to boot.
Vibe Master.
Man,
Hey, we don't need Nick Station to boot. We just need the new one to boot.
Vibe Master is good. I like that name. That's his name. When we set up the host name, that's Vibe. We got to remember Vibe Master. That's good. I like that. When would we want to do this?
It needs
After?
to be in like a wood paneled retro sort of like, 70s
Oh my god,
piece of
dude.
appliance. That
Like-
has like a wood, like, like engraved, it says burned in Vibe Master on it.
Were you thinking like for like the I was saying the 28th, but really, oh no, I'm looking at the wrong calendar. Are you thinking for the 28th episode on the 28th?
Yeah, I mean, really, we could, perhaps you could rejuggle whichever there. So
I'm back
the
by
date part
then.
wasn't.
My tricky thing is Hadia wanted to
true.
go before Christmas, so we're leaving the 19th. And then I think we get back like Monday or Tuesday before Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
Probably Tuesday. And then I'm back.
Again, if you need tips of that area, Aaron,
Oh, yeah, right.
he just did a van trip throughout that entire area you're thinking of going
It's going to be very
so.
kid-focused, very much
Oh,
like
yeah.
what they want to go do. Because it's
Mhm.
sort of our
Oh,
gift
so
to them
much
for
to
the
do
year.
around there.
Hadia got a pretty nice little Airbnb or Verbo, I'm not sure what it
Ooh.
is.
Sweet.
That's great.
Close to town. Because that's what they want to do.
Well, now I want to join you guys.
Are there
Come on
go-karts
down.
available? That's what you should find out.
Right? Wow, lizard. They're
Or,
amazing.
Laser tag, and then keep your practicing.
Southern Fried, what always gets me is like the fact that they can catch birds. They can't fly, but they still catch birds. Think about that. That's a
Yeah, well,
true.
if those dumb birds weren't tempted by the sweet smell of the land,
That's true.
That's a kitty.
Yeah, we could just do
Yeah.
pet pictures and not do the show. That'd be fine.
I'm cool with that.
All right, let me see. The mouse died on me today, the battery. So I have an Airmaster's out of USB. So I have the mouse. See, where's my shot?
I
I have the mouse for Airmaster.
feel like I'm going to get back to the studio, and there's not going to be a roof somehow.
I know, it's
like
falling
various
apart,
other
dude. It's
people.
falling apart.
Uh-huh.
The mouse for Airmaster is to the left of the soundboard machine over here. So I'm operating a computer.
That makes zero sense.
I'm operating a computer over here with a mouse over here.
Do you remember how we were trying to set you up so that nothing ever changed so you could get like muscle memory and all that?
What a nice idea.
This just breaks it.
What a nice idea. That's such a...
I'm thinking the problem is actually like we don't have enough going through BitFocus, right? You're having to use a mouse at all.
You're right. Why
It's
not?
all BitFocus buttons.
That's so
Thank
true.
That's true.
With your left hand, you barbarian.
Well, I'm a little ambidextrous, I,
Not enough, clearly.
well, with practice.
Doesn't the launch have a USB hub?
I want to see you double mouse.
All used up.
You're doing separate mice on.
I am.
two
I got
different systems at the same
Airmaster
time.
here, and I got the other machine here, and they're and the other thing. So not only is it, am I using both hands, but the systems are transverse or whatever. It's
Why
pretty
do you
bad.
do this to yourself?
It's part of bad. It's part of bad. Okay.
We could just pause the show till your mouse is ready.
No, I'm ready. I don't need it once. I will be able to use. I will be able to use the BitFocus for everything else. I just wanted to set my zoom right. Really, the problem is we didn't save the template with the right zoom for the.
Oh,
The right what?
There's always little things. The right zoom. Oh, and the zoom's slightly different because I'm down a track because I don't have a West local track too. So let me zoom in that. Let me.
oh, true.
I'll zoom in on the ups and the downs here. Okay. All right. You don't have to save yet. You don't have to worry yet, boys. I got it on this end for the members.
Oh, thanks.
I'll get it for you. Okay. Sorry, I still got food. I'm trying to get it out of my. I had to just like take a handful of pretzels and went, that's what I did. It's gross. I'm sorry, and I'll get my act together by the time the
He's
music's
our
over.
gross pretzel guy. Nothing.
But I'm drinking a lot of water today.
That's so responsible.
Yeah. Okay. Here we go. Whoa. Mamba room's
Batman just
open.
joined.
Chat room is open. Join us. We're going to get started. members, welcome into episode 642 of your Unplugged program. Just getting started. Hello there, Wes.
Oh, good morning. Happy Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday to you. Hello, Brentley.
Hello.
Hi. Oh, I see. Let's get up there. I got to reach for the other mouse. Let's get up there to that mumble room and say hi to our friends up there in the mumble room doing their mumble thing. Hello, mumble room. Hello. We have a mumble room.
Hello.
Hi.
Oh, there they go. I was worried for a second. Suspiciously quiet.
We were off working on our various projects over the week, doing various things. Brent surviving also at the same time in the snow. It's the winter wonderland has hit Brent. Driving in a blizzard, parking in the snow. Like, wow, man. I'm not ready for that. It's coming my way.
Neither am I, but I am now out of necessity.
Wes, my gut tells me that after Thanksgiving, it turns here in the Pacific Northwest a hard turn into winter. I feel it coming.
I think you are spot on.
Feel it coming.
That, unfortunately, it's been kind of. I mean, there's been bouts of rain as is expected, but like it has not been super cold. Yeah. It's been mostly outside nice. The rain, pretty darn pleasant. So, and I think that means we're in for something nasty.
I got the majority of my winterizing done. Not all of it, but I got the majority of my winterizing done, so I'm close to being ready. Got a couple of little niggling things still left to do, but probably could bang it out in a few hours, so it feels good.
Yeah, wasn't there just like a new sort of cool fan-based bay, something where you?
Yeah, we got that. We got capped. We capped that.
Oh, okay.
You capped the hole I put in your rig?
We capped both holes. Both holes are capped.
Oh, yeah, I did put 2 holes. Mm-hmm. Whoops.
And I got a heater in that bay, so it should be good. Hasn't had to kick in yet, but I did a little test. It's always also when I discover, that sensor hasn't reported in for a month, and I just don't care because I'm not paying attention. So let's go kick that sensor and figure out what's wrong. Yeah, that kind of stuff.
Oh, man.
But I saw late last night, which is 4 p.m., you dropped a question in the Slack for Brentley, and we haven't gotten an answer yet.
You're right. We haven't got an answer yet.
No.
What's he doing?
Yeah. So do you want to...
Isn't that strategic?
Do you want to share with the class what the question was, and then we can see what the answer is?
Yeah. Well, I have a feature of Git that I've been using a little more than I have in the past recently. And since I know, Brent's a big Merkle tree guy, loves himself a little Git switch, I figured I wanted to know if he was already taking advantage of work trees.
Oh,
work trees.
Oh, I thought you were going to say like branches or something, but you're saying work tree. I don't know what work trees is.
102 now.
I don't know. I don't know if I know what a work tree is. I can I'd like to know. I can guess. I think. Can I give you a guess and see how close I get, Wes?
Yeah, go for it.
So I think my guess would be it's sort of like a temporary working tree, like not a branch so much. I don't want to call it a branch because a branch feels like it's like you're going off in a different direction and then you merge that branch back together. But a working tree feels like almost like it could be not quite considered a clone or a fork, but somewhere in between. I don't know. I have no idea. I'm just guessing because it sounds like a little bit more sophisticated than a branch. That's what I'm going with.
Do you have a guess?
Yeah.
What? A Brent?
Brent, do you have a guess?
I guess I have to. My guess would be along the same lines as Chris, but I think I'm going to say, because previously it was quite easy to create branches and then remerge those, but I want a branch full of branches. So is it just a branch full of branches? So like multi, step
like
branches?
A tree, you might say.
Almost like a tree, yeah, that you can work on.
All right. Well, I would say neither of you quite.
Come on.
There are elements from both of your answers that are somewhere approximated. The main thing to remember is like there's this actual repo, right? Like where all the Git is tracking things and keeping things. And then there's actually like the stuff you are working on in your working tree, which is like the stuff that you've actually checked out when you switch branches, right? Like Git prepares the folder that you're in with all of the files that you need to work on that specific branch or project. And so work trees let you manage those. So you get to have a whole separate directory on your file system that's still attached to the same Git repository.
But not committed necessarily.
Yeah, and so you still get the whole branch concept. By default, it actually makes you a new branch, branched off whatever you are on, whatever you're working on right there. So it's a way to have like a totally parallel setup that you can just do whatever you need to. And what I was using it for specifically is it's just nice for things like I really wanted to test that some of my testing automations for like CI jobs were going to work without getting mucked up by anything in progress, or in particular, like, oh, I might have like local development envars or .m files or other things that like I keep in my directory but are not checked into Git, and the work tree doesn't get any of those because it's just like a totally fresh clone. But any changes you do there, it's on its own branch. You can merge it back in just like you can with anything else. So I hadn't really used it a ton before, but this turned out to be a really handy way to do it.
And so what's the process of merging back like? How does that differ?
So the way it works is there's basically just a pointer. So in your new work tree, instead of having an actual like full .git directory with all the files and everything, it's just a single like symlink essentially that points back to the real true Git directory.
Oh.
And so it's just connected basically. So as long as you can see the original, then like you're just on a new branch. They can both see the same backend in terms of branches. So you just commit, and you can separately like get rid of the work tree if you want, or keep it around or whatever.
Huh. Sounds useful if you have commitment issues. Then you just make a bunch of these temporary things.
Yes. It's also nice if you just, I want to do some radical experiment, but I really don't want to mess with, like, maybe you have a bunch of files. Like, instead of having to stash files that you have in progress that you're not ready to like be done with, leave that there. Just go do your work in a work tree.
That's so better than stashing. So much better.
I really should be using this just for how I'm, like, this weekend when I was building this network remote trick. Like, I really should have been using something like this instead of working against my production system. You know, I lean so heavily on rollbacks.
That would be nice. It'd be nice too, right? Because then you have another layer of rollbacks where you don't even have to go switch the branch to the like backup one. You just leave that on your file system and go do the rebuild over there instead.
Right. That seems cleaner in the way I work. Boy, I'm excited about today's topic. I think it's almost been 2 years when Alex and I did the Jellyfin challenge on self-hosted.
Oh yeah.
Wow, really?
I think it's been a while. And so Jellyfin, in part because I use Infuse on Apple TV, which is sort of a back-end agnostic, but it's just a fantastic front-end client and handles basically every codec you'd ever want to play. But Jellyfin itself has just been fantastic, and they've added a lot of features over the 2 years that I really like. And it's really dialed in. Like I was struggling with intro skipping and stupid stuff like that. It's so... Their solution with media segment scanning and identifying segments like commercials, like they took a problem and they figured out a way to create a foundation which people could build tools on, which is just so great.
It took a while. It did take a while to get here. That part is fair. But you're right. I like the approach.
But the one thing it hasn't worked great at, and I know this is a problem because for whatever reason, I get push notifications every time somebody streams from my Plex server, which is still on. Primarily because it's the universal way for friends to be able to get access to the media library. Plex just really, really handles that. And I think that's been something that hasn't been as easily solved in Jellyfin without adding people to a mesh network or publicly hosting a Jellyfin server or exposing inbound ports on your firewall and just, raw dog.
This is the downside of not having a SaaS company that is behind the scenes willing to pay sysadmins to run the infrastructure. And
something I'm going to try to remember to say in the show, too, is it doesn't apply just to Jellyfin, right? This could apply to lots of self-hosted services that don't offer this sort of proxying feature. And so that was the problem I set off to solve, and I'm very happy with the solution, so I cannot wait to talk about it. But
I want to know later if you're gonna push some of this stuff, because there may or may not be some sort of Python server involved that
you'd like to see.
Very curious. But
I'd be curious to take your take on it too. Actually, I should. I think it's all local on the box in a repo. It's all in Git on the box, but I don't have it uploaded on GitHub or anything.
How many activation scripts?
Well, this one is. Whatever, if there are, I guess there must be some in Nix, but whatever the default is, because this is all done, server side systemd stuff. It's all beautiful. It's so beautiful. I did have something I wanted to share with the members though before we get to all of that. This is one of those where I really had to sit with it and be like, do we put this in the main show and just have a really, really long show? Because I feel like this is probably something that should be put on blast. But at the end of the day, we don't have the time, and it's a perfect kind of thing we can provide to the members. So Linus, about a month ago, did one of his traditional sit-down keynotes with Dirk Handel.
In Korea, I believe, for Open Source Summit.
Yeah. And it was about a 35-minute talk. So if you want to find the whole thing, just search for Keynote Linus Torvalds, creator of Linux and Git, in conversation with Dirk Handel. But I think I got the 5 best moments for us that are relevant to our interests. And so I thought we could play those and we could then chat about, Linus's take afterwards. And so our first clip of Linus from the keynote is a little bit earlier into the keynote, and it's a question that evolves over the time. And I think Linus's answer gets interesting every time he sort of evolves his answer. And it is sort of traditional after all these years, Linus, what surprises you about working on the Linux kernel? And Linus always has interesting answers, and he's evolved it a little bit.
Yeah. So, but if we look at the last 10 years, what stands out to you in the process of how Linux has evolved and progressed?
So what stands out to me a lot is that I used to say that, hey, at some point, we're done. But that was a long, long time ago. And it's been almost 35 years of doing Linux for me right now. And I don't feel like at some point we're done. No. In fact, I've come to the conclusion that all real projects, the real work is in maintenance and ongoing support. And especially for the kernel, we had this discussion with Greg yesterday that as long as people continue to make new hardware, we will have more work to be done on the kernel side. But even without that, and this is where I'm surprised, we actually still, 35 years into the project, we're still doing like fixing up core kernel code and making things prettier and making them more maintainable and stable. And I mean, I had a discussion about cleaning some stuff up today at 3 a.m. because I was jet lagged. With a system like Linux, the real work really ends up being just maintaining it and keeping everything working as you get new challenges, whether they be from hardware or from new software loads that we end up experiencing.
Yeah, I think that's such a obvious yet profound statement, and I feel like it applies to software development. It applies to parenting. It applies to car maintenance. It applies to podcasting. Right, like getting the thing, starting the thing. Like in our world, it's just as an example, not to make it about us, but just because I can see the parallels here. If you have your crap together and you know the topic, the first 10 episodes, it's a lot of obvious topics to hit. Maybe even the first 20 episodes. If you're lucky and you picked a really good topic, maybe even the first 100 episodes, although 100 weeks is a lot. But getting to 13, 14, 15 years of a show, like that's the hard work. That's the hard part. Not starting the show, not doing the first 20 episodes. And I think it's so true for software, infrastructure. It's very wise. And it is the kind of thing you learn the hard way, right, Wes?
Yeah, and I think in particular, it says a lot about what the kernel is and where it fits, right? Like, I think there are more tightly scoped projects that can be done to the extent that the things that they operate on stop changing themselves, right? So, like, the inputs don't change, and the problem is still valid. It can be done. But for the kernel, when your goal,
you think that's the exception?
Yeah, probably. I think it takes a very particular domain, right? Like, and small niche thing. So like a particular software library for a particular fixed spec, that can be done in as far as like a person cares, there are no obvious bugs, the implementation is correct and tested and whatever else. But that ends up being very different than like if your job is to be the abstraction layer that bridges a common interface from, a generic interface for a program to run all the way down to whatever hardware. Greg's right. Like, as long as there keeps being a change in what hardware exists and what kind of drivers need to exist for it, then you're always going to have some kind of kernel update, even if you didn't do any other kind of like refactoring or in kernel infrastructure.
Are you calling Linus? Are you calling Linus Greg?
Well, they mentioned he was talking to Greg about.
Oh yeah. It does sound like, okay, I got you. I follow you. Yeah, I think that's a fair point. And
because because like you could stop.
Probably wasn't true for the
improving-
kernel in year 1 or 2, right? Yeah, that makes sense.
Right. And like you could have a thing that was just meant to be educational, or right, you're like, well, memory management is good enough and no one's made a new architecture and the chips haven't gotten any faster. What do you need to change?
Yeah. I suppose like people that wrote some of the core X11 stuff, some of that probably still works today. X11 isn't changing very much. There was a very kind of beat around the bush conversation about Bcache-fs. No names were named.
Yeah.
But if you're in on the drama around Bcache-fs, you know what they're talking about in this next clip here. And I think I don't know. Actually, later on, I kind of got the impression the whole episode was a little rough on Linus. He went out and worked on guitar pedals to sort of sort out some of the stress from it.
Yeah, this year was a bit tumultuous. We had a lot of disagreements to the point where parts of the kernel was made external just to avoid a lot of friction. To be fair, that was not the first time it happened.
But it's been a while.
We've had pieces of the kernel that were not being used or had serious enough issues that we had to excise from the kernel. It's rare. In 35 years, it's happened only a handful of times. So it's not an enjoyable experience. But at the same time, I feel that we've been able to deal with it fairly well. Any big project where literally thousands of people, we have every single release, we have over 1,000 people involved, and that's every 2 months, right? You will have personal disagreements, you will have professional disagreements, you will have friction, and that's all part of life. And I think we're mostly one big happy family, right?
I think I would more describe it as a very mature group of people who have figured out how to work with each other. But yeah, I'll go with a happy family. Normally,
As somebody who is so eternally grateful for what the kernel team does, I don't always these days buy that projection. Every now and then you get a little look behind the scenes, and it can give you, it's true for a lot of workplaces. It's just hard to say. Like what they've achieved is tremendous. So yeah, one big happy family. I don't know if I buy that line, but
Right.
Yeah.
Definitely a family in that it
Yes.
can be cohesive and work, and the same people can be around, but there's some dysfunctions.
Yeah, that's
And
a
for
good.
the most part, like the work keeps happening. The core essential bits
Yeah.
keep going, right?
Yeah.
Maybe there are some projects, perhaps in particular file systems, like the roof replacement that isn't happening, or the, family therapy that they're not going to. But it doesn't mean like the entire thing is a train wreck.
Yeah. Okay, so I thought Linus has always had, and this is what actually, because this is the time we live in. This is what made headlines for this entire keynote, is this next bit here. And Linus has always had a pretty pragmatic take on LLM-assisted coding and AI. He's not a big fan of all of the hype, et cetera, but he does see one fairly positive upside for Linux in general, and it was an area that for him has been an area of concern in the past that he's rather famous for.
It's actually been one of the nice parts of AI is it made NVIDIA be a good player in the Linux kernel space. Famously not true 20 years ago. These days, when Linux has been so important to the AI cloud, suddenly NVIDIA cares deeply about Linux, and we have a lot of kernel maintainers from that quarter too. So that has been one of the positive sides of the AI boom.
I thought that was interesting, and I hadn't given a lot of thought, but it is probably true. The reason why NVIDIA finally got, their Linux stuff sorted out was for the AI workloads. Additionally, Dirk followed up and said, are you concerned that a lot of this is now being pushed out to edge hardware that is using proprietary firmware and proprietary OSs? So yes, it works with Linux now, but a lot of that functionality is happening on chip, and Linux is, and in, of course, this context, I mean the kernel, is out of the game. And Linus's response was, no, that doesn't bother me one bit. I've always viewed that stuff as user space, and user space has always had proprietary bits. There's always been commercial applications running in user space on Linux, and that's how he views the NVIDIA workloads. And so that was interesting.
But now you've said AI so many times.
So then he keeps going on AI, and this is the topic of vibe coding and, kind of how vibe coding comes up in the context of the kernel, et cetera, and this is his take.
I have to talk a little bit about that. It's all your fault. Last year, we talked about the idea that AIs could be useful, or Gen AI could be useful for code review, for explaining code. And I know quite a bit of work has been done in the Linux kernel community around that.
Yeah.
Where do you think this is today?
Well, it's not there today. I mean, we have people who are doing a lot of work in using AI, mainly to help maintainers deal with the flow of patches and backporting patches to stable versions.
So that's interesting there, is that he says they're already using AI assisted for some of that stuff, the patching backlog things.
And things like that. Honestly, from a practical standpoint, a lot of that is experimental, and the big issues we see is that AI has been very disruptive to a lot of our infrastructure. So we have the AI crawlers that crawl all over the kernel.org source infrastructure, and that has been a huge pain and not always pleasant. So there's some good and some bad. I'm still I'm looking forward to the day when AI is less hyped and more like the everyday reality that nobody talks constantly about. And that's clearly still a few years from now.
I think exciting new technologies are always what people want to talk about. And of course, with the trillions of dollars being invested, there's a lot of curiosity. But one of the things that I found interesting in Amsterdam at the Open Source Summit there, Daniel Stenberg from libcurl talked about how the AI-generated SLOP security submissions, security reports, are almost a denial of service attack on his project. Yep. And is this something that you see?
We have seen it on the kernel side. We have not seen it to that degree, but we do see bug reports and security notices that are clearly basically made up by people who misuse AI, and it does take resources away from maintainers. It has been a bigger problem in some other projects than it has been for the kernel.
That's great. So the other use, of course, that everyone wants to talk about is AI for code generation. So I always talk about autocorrect on steroids, because AI is fantastic at code completion, at helping you with syntax, with standard libraries. And then at the other end of the spectrum, what today is talked about is agentic AI. So basically having an AI agent to which you say, hey, Claude, I want you to develop this feature, all the way to people saying in a week with the help of one of those AIs.
I'm just going to pause here for a second. Just to think it's interesting that these guys are having the same conversations we're having, like chewing on the same stuff. It's taking us years to process this. And as I listen to this, I think one of the ironies is these tools almost force you to adopt tools to manage the output, right? So how do you deal with an onslaught of bugs, slop bugs and slop PRs? You probably put a machine in front of it. And it's crazy because it's like forces you to adopt a similar technology to counter. So it's somebody's generating the slop, and then the machines are sifting the slop. That part.
Right? It's kind of another view on, right? The business has a robot answering the phone, and you use your robot to go place a call to ask about if your pharmacy order is ready, or
right.
whatever.
Or like what's happening to me 8 times a day is a robot's calling my phone, and now a robot's answering and screening the robot calls.
Yeah, it's just the code version of that.
It really is. All right. So, anyways, not to interrupt, but I just thought that's really fascinating that not only are they struggling with these same questions, but you sort of see this path that they're probably inevitably forced down. So here's Linus on vibe coding.
I built a complete product. Are you playing with this at all?
I'm not playing with it at all. I'm sure people are looking at it even for the kernel code base, I suspect the kernel is insular and different enough that despite us having a lot of code in the open that you can use to teach AI, it doesn't tend to be, I mean, I don't think a lot of people are doing vibe coding for the kernel. I think people are doing vibe coding for own small personal projects. And I actually think, I see that as mostly a positive thing. I just think of how, when I grew up, I have a hard time seeing people, but I'm guessing not a lot of the people in the audience grew up with computers and reading magazines and typing in programs from computer magazines 45, 50 years ago. Yeah. No hands came up onto that. But that's how I got into computers. And I feel like computers have gotten so complicated and your expectations of programming have gotten so much higher that it's much harder to get started these days than it was when I was young and I got into computers and I got excited about it. And I actually think that vibe coding may be a horrible, horrible idea from a maintenance standpoint if you actually try to make a product for it. But I think it's a great way to make for new people to get involved and get excited about computers and get computers to do something that maybe they couldn't do otherwise. And so I actually am fairly positive about this all. And I mean, and that's really ignoring all the people who then hope to make billion-dollar companies by just using vibe coding. But I see it as something exciting and something new and something good, even if clearly I think people's expectations from when I talked earlier about how real projects are a lot about maintaining it, and I think people will notice that vibe coding may not be the way towards that.
Yeah, I mean, there is this thrill, the excitement of coming into a new programming language, a new environment, a new set of libraries, and have the tool do 90% of the work. Yep. But I've been spending a lot of time on this, and the tools get you to 90%, and they do an amazing job at that. It's that last 10%, and that last 10% is
the last 10% is the thing that takes 34 years out of your 35-year project. So.
Exactly. So there is.
It's like Mayhem saying in the chat room. I think it's interesting when you listen in context. It's a lot more positive than the headlines will have you believe, or the people that are doing drive-by analysis on the headlines. Like, that's a much more rational take.
Yeah, both positive and less positive, right? Like it's less hyped, but it's also less negatively hyped.
Yeah.
So it's like less overblown in either direction.
Right.
Which is great.
One last clip, just because I think these have been pretty great. And the topic, obviously, always, when this discussion comes up, it always drifts to, what about jobs? And in their context, what about developer jobs? Could this be a way where, we're essentially building the tools to get ourselves out of work? And Linus's thoughts on that.
I honestly don't know. This is one of those things where I will just say, hey, let's wait a few years to see what the real answer is, because I think it's a complicated question. And I suspect, my personal opinion is that you will notice that you will need all the same maintainers to actually keep that project going. And that AI is just another tool, the same way compilers freed people from writing assembly code by hand and increased productivity enormously, but didn't make programmers go away. I think AI in the end will be that too, that it's another tool that allows you to not have to deal with all of the minutiae, but it doesn't make the actual programmers go away. That's my gut feel. And if anything, it probably makes people more productive, but also opens up whole new areas of development, and you actually end up with more software programmers for that reason.
I just like that clip because it sort of is in the same gear of my thinking. This weekend I created a stupid little Python API server. Never written any Python in my life.
You can't say that anymore.
Yeah, I guess.
You do now have to be my Python maintainer, whether you wrote it or not.
Yeah, that's true.
Back to like this earlier point.
And eventually I do have to let you look at it. So there's that too.
Ooh.
Right. I mean, a lot of it ends up that, right? Like it is, okay, so now maybe you can do more, or you can do things you can kind of
prototype things maybe, or
right. But especially in like a business sense, it sort of then comes down to like, well, what do you actually want under your purview and your responsibility, and what do you have time for all the rest of the 10% stuff that goes along with that, and then that impacts the calculus of does it make sense to have this as part of some other role, or how does that get divided, and there's what?
Like it's like if it's a simple thing that does like 4 things, that's probably something I could put together. But if the complexity gets any bigger than that, I don't think I have the experience to even properly prompt the thing to design it in a way properly, right? Like I just don't. That, to me, is the inescapable realities. If you don't have that practical experience and education, then you're going to vibe yourself into a mess.
And it's one thing if it's kind of local or simple, right? But if it's some like stateful living system where you've built something that like you kind of then you either have to hope that you can get all of the right context to the machine and that it can actually use that to correctly diagnose your issues and how to fix it.
Right.
Or remember or have your own playbooks to understand enough to figure out what's going on.
One perspective I've liked recently is it's appropriate to build things that you can verify, that you have either the expertise or the transparency to be able to verify the output. So, Chris, is it doing the thing you want it to? And can you verify that it's not doing things you don't want it to? If the answer is yes, then go for it. If the answer is no, then...
Yeah, for that you drop it in another LLM and you ask it.
There you go. Or at least sandbox it.
That's definitely right. And it goes kind of back to what Chris was saying about, machines versus machines. And I think it is, right, like as much as it's going to stress other parts of the system, LLMs writing code is also really going to stress the ability, like how do we review all of it? How do we review all of it well? And then to Brent's point, how do we test it? Because if we can't really like fully review it, or if there's just so much stuff that like, we need new ways of scaling, then the testing side of it becomes radically more important. It's already very important, but if you can really well test it, then it means maybe you can operate these things a little better.
Good chat. And, go ahead, Brentley.
Oh, I'll bring up one last perspective that actually my mother got me thinking about, which is surprising. But she was like, oh, well, isn't that going to mean like more viruses and more, I don't know, denials of service or basically just malicious activity? Because those people have the tools, right? And my quick argument was, well, I guess the people protecting us and the systems protecting us from that stuff also have the tools. So it's kind of that cat and mouse game. But I'm curious on each of your perspectives on, whether that's going to cause some kind of new challenge that is hard to deal with, or it's just like old hat. We've always had to deal with new technologies coming around and solving that problem from a security standpoint.
Well, it depends on what you view as security. The computer security is still kind of relatively new. Obviously, like physical and, espionage, all that has a longer history in human doings. But it does strike me like I don't think people appreciate even now, right? Like at the start of this era, just how much goes on for endpoint protection or automated scanning on cloud networks, right? Where like machines are getting things thrown at them to test their responses, to be able to classify if they look like they're having suspicious behavior or not already. And so it seems like this next era will certainly just sort of, even if it's not net new, it will ratchet up a lot of those kinds of things. And so probably also means more systems will need to adopt some layer of that, just again to kind of deal with the slop.
Yeah, that seems reasonable. And again, going back to the chat with the kernel guys, it's like you'll have to adopt some of the same tooling. And it's sort of a no-win scenario. And if you don't adopt the tools, you're just going to get buried, possibly. I don't know for sure. I mean, right now, we have the benefit of they don't produce great quality. So a lot of what they produce just doesn't work. But that's a problem that will correct over time. So can't rely on that forever.
And we'll see, too. There's probably a social element, right? Like what kind of etiquette and practices, like as long as it's still gated to a, like, say, a human submitting the code and asking for a review of some kind, right? Is there sort of what social barriers establish around what the expectations are?
Yeah.
That's still pretty new, too.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it's also a challenge in the context of spam. But I'll leave it to the listener to tell us their thoughts. I have one more story I want to share before we start the show, so I'm excited about this one, boys. Just as I have written off Zigbee, Home Assistant Connect ZBT2 has been announced, and it is their answer to a Zigbee radio, a lot like the one they just announced that's a Z-Wave. This one can do double duty as either a Thread or a Zigbee radio.
Ooh.
Another open source design and build that's modifiable.
It's nice looking too, huh?
Very nice. Very, very nice. I know only Brent's really going to totally understand what my reference is here, but I've been trying to figure out a way to monitor the temperature in the milk shed. So because that's where the well pump is on the farm. And I don't know, Brent, do you have a rough...
Well, you don't want your milk to spoil. I get it.
Yeah, that's true. Is that what would you
Need
say?
more cows.
Maybe as the crow flies 300 feet from the RV?
Yeah. Yep, that's pretty accurate.
And then it's got thick cement walls, so there's that problem. But But I'm wondering if...
It is also completely open at the other end if you've, turned the corner.
Yeah, that's true. So I don't know. It may be possible. I'm wondering with these new Home Assistant antennae, if I could actually get 300 feet range. That'd be really, really nice.
I love how you and I get ourselves in situations that nobody else does that makes us find weird solutions that we just can't help ourselves but to build, solutions to.
It's so stupid.
I'm there for it, though. Bring it on.
If I had Ethernet, after they created the Z-Wave one and shipped it, they released a firmware that let you extend it over Z-Wave. So you could put it over Ethernet, so you could put it somewhere else, and then over Ethernet, it would extend the Z-Wave network. It's just very cool.
So you're saying we should have pulled an Ethernet line from the milk shed to the RV, right?
Obviously. I don't know why I should have Ethernet everywhere.
I like the idea whenever you change locations, you're just kind of unspooling a whole bunch of Ethernet
wires everywhere.
Around. Uh-huh.
The problem,
don't step there. That's my fiber line.
The problem with these sweet new antennae is, you got to migrate from your old controller. And ain't nobody want any downtime, especially when these controllers are partially responsible for heaters that prevent my stuff from freezing.
Well, that's why they just
can't do it.
One day.
Isn't that why they just forced downtime on you so you could do the switch?
How do they do that? Oh,
they're a little sneaky upgrades.
That would have been the time to do it, although they hadn't released this. This replaces the Sky Connect, which listener Alex included in the box with the little 1 liter PC. And this is a significant improvement. I did buy the Z-Wave version. So I probably will get this. This is the first Home Assistant hardware that I haven't purchased when they released it. But I will probably pick it up when I do the migration.
So it's more of just a delay on your side than anything here.
Yeah. I just don't need it at the moment. But I will. I think I will go to this when and if I do decide to go with the 1 liter PC via KVM. And I've been getting some good feedback from people. I think I will probably migrate to this Z-Wave adapter at that time, which is probably January-ish, but I don't know. I'm very excited to have that.
As someone who's still new and building out this stuff, I like it too. Just when either way, whichever of these networks or both, if I end up adopting, there's just these very easy onboarding, sort of blessed, known good and seemingly good quality hardware options instead of having to kind of go figure out recommendations elsewhere.
Not only will you probably end up having Zigbee and Z-Wave, but then you'll have a bunch of ESP devices on Wi-Fi and maybe even a few things on Bluetooth because, some controllers and stuff, they have Bluetooth remotes and whatnot. And so that's how you got to talk to them. Yeah.
How do you feel about that Thread support?
I don't use Thread a lot, so I would like to. Maybe one day. All my devices are Zigbee or Z-Wave or ESPs. Yeah, I'd like
having all these things. See again, just the giant spool of Ethernet cable starting to sound better already.
I'm putting it out there as a general ask. This is something that I asked last week on the launch. I'm going to ask it now for people to call and leave a voicemail. I only got 3 calls last week or something. We need more. Step up and call me and tell me if you have tried to do the smart home thing and it blew up in your face and you went back, or if you have a no smart home rule. I want to hear from those of you who are anti-smart home or tried smart home and now you're very anti-smart home. And tell me about the platforms you use too. You'll have 2 minutes. Call the launch. I'm going to play it on Tuesday's episode.
Well, I'm just going to make a quick call to my launch. I haven't checked in since yesterday. 774-462-5667. That's it. All right. 774-462-5667. Call now.
Call the launch.
I'm just gonna say, I think the folks out there, if they are gonna write it, we gotta help them out with the branding, right? If you're said the smart home side, you don't want to call it a dumb home. I think simple home.
Classic home.
Simple home crew. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What about smart bus? Is that allowed?
I say we should put a little call out if anybody listening live wants to support this episode. I think we're slacking a little bit. I think we're a little bit on the low side. I think maybe people haven't really enjoyed the last couple of episodes. I think maybe the energy's been low. That's my take. It's my take. Because it's sort of boom. And that's while it's on sale. Boosts are Black Friday sale for Boost right now. So I think
come early.
But I think that's on us. I really do, because I think, I don't know.
It's not just dip depression. Is that what's kicking in?
It's hard to say. Maybe it could be.
I bet folks are busy troubleshooting kind of their weird network setups. But
last year at this time,
you've got like a networking tip and trick for us this week. So,
like, we have the boosties coming up. I don't think it's going to be very impressive.
Uh-oh.
But it's okay. It's okay. But
yeah, I should get like a preview, huh?
Yeah. But I think we'll figure it out. Okay. I think we're ready to record if you guys want to get in position over there with your machines.
Ooh. Okay, standing by.
Also, just a quick shout out to our chat room. If you're watching on YouTube or X or Twitch or whatever, and you want to get in our live chat, we love that, because that's the one we're watching for the show. Can only really monitor one.
Yeah, not the live chat on your platform, not that one.
Unfortunately,
we have our own sneaky, better.
I know, it's self-hosted and free source. Hey, why don't we call it free source? That's great.
It's Libre source.
Yeah, and then you can bang suggest, and then we can vote and get a great title. So if you'd like to do that, jupiterbroadcasting.com/chat for that. Okay, boys, are you ready over there?
Ready.
Stay a while and listen.
All right, 3, 2, 1, record. Hello, Drew.
Hello, the Drewski.
All right, let's do our 4 count. Mumble, jump in 2. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4.
4.
Magnolia Mayhem's been saying free source since 2013. Damn. How about that? On the cutting edge with that S. On the cutting edge. Okay, let's do the show, gents. And we begin in a 3, 2. Hello, friends, and welcome back to your weekly Linux talk show. My name is Chris.
My name is Wes.
And my name is Brent.
Hey, gents. Well, coming up on the show this week, I have finally cracked it. I love Jellyfin, but there's been one thing that's been lacking that's kept Plex around. Well, I have a wild remote access trick for private self-hosted services like Jellyfin. And now I can share my Jellyfin instance with friends and family who can't join my mesh network. It's simple, it's absurd, and it's shockingly effective. And then we'll round it out with some great picks, some boosts, and more. So before we get into all of that, we got to give a shout out to our... Stop hitting your mic, Chris. Before we get into all of that, we got to give a shout out to our virtual lug. Hello, Mumble Room, time appropriate greetings.
Hello. Hey, Chris. Hey, Wes, and hello, Brent.
Hey, guys. Hello up there in the quiet listening too. Nice to see a little crew up there hanging out with us. Mumble Room is always rolling, jupiterbroadcasting.com/mumble. And a big good morning to our friends at Defined Networking. Go meet Manage Nebula from Defined Networking. It's a decentralized VPN built on the Nebula platform that we just absolutely love. Every now and then a darling comes along. I think it was Wes, caught it first, and then we lock in and we track it from basically birth to, product. And it started in 2017 to secure the Slack network, which had to have robust security and decentralization from the very beginning. I mean, this is Slack's bag, right? And it's so Nebula has the best-in-class encryption. And what really matters for me is the design. You can use the managed product for up to 100 free hosts No credit card required. Support the show. It's a great product. And if you think to yourself, this is something I'd like to build my business's network around, they can help you with that. Maybe your home lab. But maybe get to the point where you want to manage the entire thing. Everything can be completely self-hosted. It's not something they begrudgingly support that's available that doesn't have all the features. It's what they build their product on top of. And when you think about your network infrastructure and long-term planning, those little things, that 10-20% gap, really makes all the difference. And it's such a fantastic product because it puts very little load on your machine. Low load on the network and low load on the CPU. So your battery life lasts longer on your laptop and your mobile devices, and your server isn't busy with a bunch of that nonsense. You got to go check it out. Get started for 100 hosts, absolutely free, no credit card required. Go to defined.net/unplugged. Redefine your VPN experience at defined.net/unplugged. All right, we have decided to do it. The Great Holiday Home Lab is coming up. Pay attention because we're going to need you to submit your home lab to this special. And I will have links. I'll have all of it set up for you. It's something we're doing in place of the Tuxies this year. It's our very first edition of the Great Holiday Home Lab special. And we want to see your setups. It's a magical time of year. It'll be coming up before you know it. It's just a couple of weeks away. So it is our first community showdown of your questionable wiring, your crazy tinkering, maybe your downright impressive builds. I don't know, maybe you got a real clean setup. I want you to enter your home lab, big or small, to linuxunplugged.com/holiday. And it is a Google form. I don't think you have to log in, but if you hate Google Forms, I have a solution for you. It's all available. You can just copy and paste into an email. Go to linuxunplugged.com/oldfart. That's linuxunplugged.com/oldfart if you just want the markdown version. I'd like you to submit a couple of photos, a short description, your hardware list, and tell us what your home lab actually does. And then you're in. And we're going to have a couple of different categories. We're going to have the Grand Rack Award, which will be 100,000 sats. We'll have the Silver Pseudo Award, which will be 50,000 sats. The Best Effort Award, it doesn't have to be perfect, the Best Effort, 10,000 sats. And then the LUP Rescue Mission. One home lab that's in such bad shape. Maybe you tried. A lot of heart went into that home lab. A lot of effort. The three of us, the boys, we're gonna get connected on a remote call. We're going to run down what's going on. We're going to help you get things in working order and do a little LUP rescue mission. For better or for worse.
I feel like you're talking about my home lab here. We've already done that rescue multiple times. What's going on? It's still a mess.
It's like the shoemaker whose kids have horrible shoes. We're probably going to record that session, and depending on how it goes, we may turn that into an episode as well if you end up on the LUP rescue mission tier. So we're going to have each home lab. We're going to look at its functionality, your design, your ingenuity, your creativity. Efficiency is a big one, too. If you have documentation, that'll matter. Your personality, your creative solutions you've come up with. We're going to have a 0 to 10 per category score. Each one of us will give scores. We'll have things like the lowest functionality but best personality. Maybe a disaster story might earn the rescue, something like that. So the entries are open right now. I want you to submit your home lab. Show us what you got, even if it's totally chaotic. Hey, my wiring often looks horrible. No shame in that. We may judge you and call you out for it, but don't worry, a lot of us have it like that. We really want to see what you got. So submit it. We'll have links in the show notes. And again, it's linuxunplugged.com/holiday or linuxunplugged.com/oldfart for the Great Holiday Home Lab Extravaganza. And do get them in quick because we're going to be recording our holiday episodes before you know it. And I can't wait to see what you guys have come up with. We cannot participate ourselves, unfortunately. We'll have to do our own rescues later on our own.
Been disqualified already. Jeez.
Okay, so I wanted to solve something that's really kind of been eating at me since about 2 years ago when Alex and I did the Jellyfin January challenge, I think it was. And it'll be 2 years, I think, this January. And Jellyfin's been fantastic. The migration to Plex was really smooth. I use Infuse on an Apple TV, which sounds like a why would you do that kind of setup, but it actually, after trying all the things, really has been just a fantastic way to consume media, really flawless. The two combination are great. And I do take advantage of some Jellyfin plugins, and I use the Jellyfin web interface from time to time. But I've had to keep one Plex instance around because friends and family like to sometimes check in on the old media library. Maybe they're traveling or whatever, and Plex is installed on a lot of stuff, or it's easy to get going on anything that has a web browser. And so once or twice a week, friends or family are streaming things from a Plex server that I don't actually use for myself. And I thought about this problem because when you're at a hotel or, it's a friend's computer, you don't necessarily want them to just randomly join your mesh network. And I don't necessarily just want to build a public Jellyfin server that's available on a VPS all the time that's going to get banged on. And I don't want to have my ports forwarded on my firewall permanently to my Jellyfin instance. And I might want to solve this for other self-hosted software that isn't Jellyfin. And so this is a problem that I have tried to figure out for quite a while. And obviously something Plex handles really well. I know none of us are really big Plex users, but occasionally, we might dip in just because of this share feature.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's one of those things, right, where you just kind of got maybe folks who were less technical still kind of had a Plex account because they had other friends who were sharing Plex. There was a lot of stuff that ended up meaning you could get tangentially sucked in. And that meant that it was also very easy to take advantage of them doing sort of we're the SaaS company that's willing to do free proxying for you and host the auth and make it easy.
Wes, you've had a really nice solution to this that you've used historically. I know I've used it a couple times.
What, his randomly spin up a Jellyfin server, watch a TV show, and then destroy it move?
Quite on demand, too. I think you've optimized it as well.
Yeah. I mean, I did think about this.
I have a tip. I'm later in the show. I have a tip for how to do this. I haven't adopted yet, but that's even better. But
yeah. I wanted something that would let us continue to watch, like the TV shows that we've been watching. Like right now, we're watching the first season of Mary Tyler Moore while we eat dinner. And if we go out somewhere that has an internet connection and a web browser, I would like to be able to stream my Jellyfin instance. What was that? Is that you, Brent?
Can't say. No, it wasn't me.
Okay.
It's Deep Space Nine, I'm sure.
Oh, right.
I was maybe quietly testing something in the background, sorry about that.
And so ideally I wanted to set up with no special VPN required, no weird stuff for the user to do, no weird stuff for me to have to do. And there's a lot of ways to crack this, and we're going to talk about some after I tell you mine. And if you have Tailscale, for example, you could use a Tailscale funnel. If you're a pretty big Cloudflare user, you could probably use a Cloudflare tunnel. But I wanted to try solving this with something I've never used before, but I've heard a lot about, and it's a service called ngrok. And it looks pretty straightforward. That's one of the things that appealed to me. And it's a self-hosted sort of ingress as a service or a secure tunneling platform on demand. And you do run a small agent on your box, and it opens up the outbound connection to ngrok's cloud. And then ngrok generates a public URL that forwards traffic back to your local service, whatever you might be pointing it at. And it also, very conveniently, it handles the HTTPS certs. So if you're using it for free, you can use 3 online endpoints and a gigabyte of bandwidth and 20,000 HTTPS requests a month. And then they have paid tiers that start around $8 or $5 a month.
And that's particularly convenient for Jellyfin, right? Just because not every app, but some combos of certain apps really prefer your Jellyfin server to have a TLS certificate.
Yeah, a lot of the mobile
you don't
ones
really need one, or you don't even care because you're just trying to stream media that isn't secret at all. But
yeah, a lot of the mobile apps and a lot of the basic kiosk web browsers, which was one of the things that was a requirement, is this would work on a basic Chromium kiosk browser.
Also helps for some casting situations if you're going that route.
Yeah, right, of course. So that was something that I wanted to try, but I also needed a way to toggle this on and off because I don't want to leave it running when I'm not personally watching TV. And this proposes an interesting challenge because a situation we find ourselves in, we're at an Airbnb or a hotel and we want to watch some Star Trek. I don't want to have to SSH in, or I want to be able to toggle it on really quick, or I want my wife to be able to do it as well. And so
you wanted something where you didn't have to go manually stand up infrastructure or wire stuff together, not have to set it up with an intention before a big trip. You want to be able to on a whim on a Saturday.
Yeah, I don't want to have my Jellyfin server on the public internet all the time. So something I could easily toggle on and off remotely is really kind of what I was going for.
So this still feels like you're exposing yourself to the public internet, really, because if you didn't feel like there was some kind of risk, you wouldn't need the toggle, right? You just leave it on all the time. So does this feel like the ultimate solution or just a step towards?
Yeah, you're right. I mean, it is still a problem. I mean, it's a really crazy ngrok URL, so there's a little bit of obscurity there.
Right.
But then, of course, I do the right thing, and I have a DNS redirect that makes it a really simple URL, so that way I don't have to type a crazy ngrok URL into a kiosk device, which probably makes it easier to discover. This is something I'd be curious to know what solutions I could employ at this stage. Maybe, I could do IP whitelisting, but the issue there is I don't know what IP I'm connecting from. It could be cellular
you
network.
won't if you're at a random Airbnb or hotel or
right.
Wherever your cell phone gets assigned today.
And if it was just you would use your mesh network, right? That's the obvious solution here.
Yeah.
But do you want to let Wes and I connect whenever we want to, or whenever we can convince you to flick the switch, right?
Yeah, that is, I think, the downside to this setup is for a period of time, there is a way public internet could discover your Jellyfin server. Now, the way ngrok works is when you go to the URL, at least on the free tier, there's a page you have to go through first to say, yeah, I know what I'm doing. So that might slow down some automation. I doubt it, though. Ultimately, what I rely on is keeping my Jellyfin server secure and up to date and isolated still.
Yeah, I was going to say, obviously defense in depth, but there's also, you should be realistic about what your actual particular threat scenarios are. And, does your Jellyfin have, is it all just guest accounts and default passwords? Does it have access to the rest of your box, or is it in some sort of container or virtual machine or thing that just has access to the media? And do you have sensitive stuff in your media? Or are all things that may make you care more or less, depending on how you've got it set up. If it's just like a dedicated virtual machine that only has a limited stuff mounted in from the host, maybe it's not a huge deal. If it's, running on your box where you also do all of your backups and stuff, then maybe it's a bigger deal.
It does seem like in terms of application complexity, because it is a very complex application with a lot of stuff under the hood, a lot of FFmpeg, and it has access to hardware acceleration. Of the apps I'm going to make temporarily public, it feels like maybe the dumbest one to actually make temporary public because there's a large attack surface. There may be auth bypasses for all I know, ways to trigger the server to do all kinds of crazy DDoS indexing and transcoding. I mean, who knows, right? I mean, it has to be something you consider in the setup, I think, which is why the toggle I felt like was so important, because I'm at least, I'm watching a half-hour episode of Mary Tyler Moore. Okay, so I have a 40-minute window where I have this really crazy obscure URL and all of that. But it's something I would really like input on is layers of protection I could do here, or some other maybe second order authentication I could do to enable this, to authorize certain connections. Like if you have any ideas to boost in or give me a little bit of feedback on this, because that is something that is not ideal, and I do want to disclose it's a risk here. But ultimately, I was very, very happy with the setup that I ended up with. But first, 1Password. 1Password.
Oh, wait for me.
Okay, I'm waiting. I haven't hit enter yet. 1Password.
Yeah, sure.
I haven't. I promise. Okay, you ready?
I'm ready.
3, 2, 1, go. Boom.
Oh, I got it.
I might have beat you.
So slow.
I might have beat you. Everybody out there, go there, give them a little bump.
Today.
1password.com/
It's all the snow. It slows things down.
Yeah. Those wires are cold. Thank you to 1Password, longtime sponsor, really. Heroic through some of the tightest times, the leanest times. There was 1Password. So really appreciate them. 1password.com/ unplugged. All right, Brentley, do you want to set me up for this? So it needed to be a way I could turn on and off. I needed to be able to do it remotely, and I needed to have spousal approval where she could do it herself. That's sort of it. Okay? All right. Mm-hmm. So here we go. In a twos.
Well, you mentioned wanting to be able to turn this on and off, I'm assuming from the sofa or any sofa in Airbnb or at home, and have the wife be able to do it, which is, it sounds like quite a challenge, Chris, but you said you pulled this off in a nice way. So I'm waiting to see what you got.
As the years go by, my go-to solution more and more for this type of stuff is make a button in Home Assistant for it. It's such a flexible, powerful platform. And
Should have guessed.
yeah, it works great for this kind of thing.
You kind of, maybe not for everyone, but you are already committed to having it available and plumbed to basically all of your devices, right? You want that. So you're not paying a cost for like a new separate whole, bookmark and a whole bunch of
True.
stuff.
And it's something I'm already maintaining and making sure it's highly available, and et cetera.
Right.
But also, the thing that played a big factor in my decision-making is it's on the wife's phone, right? The kids know how to use it. So it already has family workflow. So I'm adding a button to a thing they're already using. I'm not asking them to go use a new thing. And I cannot tell you what a difference that makes in family adoption. It's the difference between them using it and not using them. So plus, it's just really awesome. I wanted a small little button, and I already have a dashboard that's for our media playback that has a mock remote control, and it has our music assistant controls. You can control the different speakers in the house from this one dashboard already. So this is where you already go to do TV stuff. So just adding a button.
Imagining like you have a TV button on the wall that you hit, and then it starts the TV up, and then the TV turns on, and then the switch is toggled, and you're ready to go.
Well, I absolutely could. I absolutely could map it to a button, right? I could conceivably even map it to just a hardware button that I take with me in my bag.
It has a little countdown, and then the button turns red again.
Right. The tunnel turns. Yeah.
I would like to know what you called the device in Home Assistant. You probably came up with a good name, or you need a better name, right?
No, it's just, well, yes, I do. It's just Jellyfin Tunnel,
Lame.
Maybe it could be like Media Conduit. I don't know. I tend to give Star Trek names because then it sticks out. Like Media Subspace Relay, Subspace Media Relay. Something like that could work. But the other thing, too, that I didn't want to have to deal with is I didn't want to have to do the crazy ngrok URL every time because I'm not going to remember that. And I'm picturing like an Airbnb, I'm picturing a kiosk, and I'm picturing a basic web browser, or I'm telling a family member over the phone. And I don't want to have to give them this crazy URL. So when I hit this button, not only do I want the tunnel to initiate on a different box, but then I also want to retrieve the crazy rando ngrok URL I just got, and then I want to go update my Cloudflare DNS entry with a redirect to point a static DNS name at this new crazy URL. And all of that happens with a push of a button. And it's so great. And honestly, it was really made possible because I created a little REST API with a tiny little Python server that I vibe coded. I'll just admit that. It's very simple.
Oh, yeah.
It's only got like 4 functions, so it's not like it's very powerful or very complicated. But what it does is it listens for essentially an HTTP REST request from Home Assistant, and that either tells it to start, stop, or check the status, or get the URL. So in Home Assistant, I can show if the tunnel's active. I can light the button up when the tunnel's up or down. And I have history of how long the tunnel's been active, when it was activated. And I can also display the ngrok URL in Home Assistant if I wanted to.
Ooh, that's nice.
Yeah. That's really, really fantastic. I did play around with Cloudflare because they don't have the bandwidth limitations until you go too far. And because I'm hosting the DNS on Cloudflare, it kind of made sense to just do it all in one place. But honestly, the complexity is more significant. And I've just found ngrok to work really well. And then in Home Assistant, I created a manual REST sensor. And it's just something you add to the Home Assistant config.yaml file. And it's probably 5 lines of YAML. And it just identifies a new sensor type. And I give it the URLs for the sensor endpoints to go talk to the Python server. And then that's how it triggers and reads the state. And while it sounds kind of like hacking a bunch of scripts together, it's because it's so simple and because I'm using the Home Assistant automation and architecture, it works really well. So I have the Home Assistant dashboard, which has a switch for the ngrok tunnel, which then sends the REST command to start or stop the ngrok tunnel. Then using the API, it pulls back the status of the tunnel. It updates my DNS record with that new URL from the status.
So is Home Assistant doing that, or your Python automation?
My Python is. When the API, after the Python script starts the tunnel, it retrieves the URL and updates the DNS just right back to each other. Boop, 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 boop.
Gotcha. Yep.
But then it delivers that back via the API to Home Assistant as well.
And then do you have to like set certain stuff in Home Assistant in terms of like fields to pick out of the response? Is there a standard protocol in terms of like, reading, like use this field to tell if it's up or down?
Yeah, because it's just giving back really simple JSON, like yes, up, down, status is active, inactive. That's basically it. That's all it is. It's so nice. But by that, I essentially get status monitoring. By looking at the button, I can tell if the tunnel's up or down. But then if I want, I can go into the button and I get additional history of all the time the tunnel was used. And then what I did is I essentially start that Python API server with a systemd unit. So when the system boots, it's just running via systemd, that little Python listener.
And then that guy also is what like interfaces with ngrok's API, right? Which is sort of like, hey, toggle this tunnel on. And then as long as you have separately that little tunneling daemon running and available, it'll pick up on that automatically.
Yeah. And then
Cool.
and then it's using the Cloudflare API, which I had to go create an API key, obviously, for the different zones it needed to manage and whatnot. And it's using that to do all the DNS and redirect on my subdomain that always remains the same. So I always just go to the same URL. And I always have a vanity URL for it. I never have to worry about any of it. And then when we're done, I just pull up the Home Assistant app on my phone, tap the button on the media card, on the media dashboard, and it takes about 10, 15 seconds, and then the tunnel closes. And that's it. And I had you boys try it this morning, and I just told you what URL to go to, and you do get an ngrok screen. But I'm curious to see what your impressions were. I'll start with you, Brentley, since you were probably on the most remote sketch connection out of the two.
Hey.
Well, it's just what it is.
Yeah, I have to say it just felt like the native experience. Aside from that ngrok screen that you get to say, I trust the person who sent me this weird, crazy link, which I'm not sure I should have answered that. But then I just got the, usual Jellyfin interface and stole your credentials, and it seemed to work perfectly fine. There was a little bit of buffering on my end, but I think we figured out that that's because your box was doing a little bit of transcoding to send it my way, not because necessarily of bad connections, but just because of hardware. Was that your assessment as well?
Yeah, just that Spaceballs was 4K UHD.
That was the only thing to test with.
Right,
Yeah, I couldn't find anything else.
No, of course not. No, I don't know. So Wes, I know it's not the most performance solution, but if you took out that ngrok prompt screen, which I think would go away if I paid for it, it feels like a pretty seamless solution. Like you wouldn't even know. You just go into any web browser and Jellyfin just comes right up.
Yeah, one thing I wasn't sure that I didn't check when I was looking at it was, are you doing like a Cloudflare proxy to apply a correct cert name like on that level, or does ngrok get that right?
Yeah.
Or
ngrok.
Jellyfin just doesn't care?
No,
Why don't
Jellyfin
they
cares.
do their layer, but do you tell them? Because then you're adding your own like wrapping layer, right?
I wonder if maybe it is. It is probably also solved it must have been solved at the Cloudflare level. It's just I don't recall going through that process.
But in any case, like at least doing it in the browser, I didn't do like a complicated app.
You don't have to like
Chromecast
do like a fake
but
cert.
it worked just fine.
Yeah.
And it is interesting. You mentioned possible limitations with bandwidth. Again, you're using a free plan from a thing, so there's risks with that. And
Yes.
I think, as far as I knew, I've never used them extensively, but I think ngrok started from like making it easy to expose staging, developer and stuff. Right? I'm working on something developing over here, and I want to do a demo and share that. So
Yeah, so here's my API on my private box is really, and you're right. And I do think if you were going for raw performance, Cloudflare is probably better because their network's a little more robust. And additionally, they don't have that 1 gigabyte limit on the free plan. So there's that. However, I really like ngrok, so I'm not necessarily inclined to change it. The nice thing is,
well, and as you saw, right, like it was the UX was good. It was well supported out there. There's a lot of examples. There's API integrations for it and all that. So there's a lot of benefits too.
the cool thing is because I kept the configuration in Home Assistant itself to something really basic. It's 4 or 5 lines of YAML. I can change out ngrok and Cloudflare and keep the Home Assistant part working because I just keep the API endpoints the same. If it's ngrok or Cloudflare, and then I don't have to readjust anything in Home Assistant, and it keeps working. I tested this. I swapped out to Cloudflare tunnels temporarily, and just kept the API URL endpoints the same, even though now it's not ngrok, and it works. So that flexibility I really love. In a sense, it's modular, right? The Jellyfin, the media server, it could be Plex, it could be SyncThing, it could be my documentation, it could be my lube logger, it could be any app. And it can be it could be ngrok, it could be funnels, it could be tunnels, it could be any tunneling technology you want. And then with Home Assistant, that just stays agnostic as well. But they all really seamlessly work together. And I don't ever manually start this tunnel, even though I know the command to start the tunnel. I just bring it up on Home Assistant and start it. Like this morning when you guys wanted to try it, I just SSH into that box. I'd open up my tab, went over to Home Assistant, and I started the tunnel that way.
Hit the button.
Yeah, I hit the button. Yeah. So it works.
Like you said, right? You get the dashboard, you get the metrics, you get the like state keeping, all that kind of stuff for free.
It's nice to solve this problem, but it's not the only way. And Wes, you played around with something called Jelly Swarm.
Yeah. You kind of touched on it earlier. Like you transition to Jellyfin and it does a lot that we love. But there's some kind of areas that it doesn't really compete with Plex in the same way or kind of offer the same functionality. And so I just took this as an opportunity to go look around and see what tooling folks were building and working on that might sort of fit. And so we'd been kind of curious around like proxies or ways to share servers before.
Mm-hmm.
So Jelly Swarm advertises itself as a reverse proxy that lets you combine multiple Jellyfin servers into one place. If you've got libraries spread across different locations or just want everything together, Jelly Swarm makes it easy to access all your media from a single interface.
Multiple servers in one interface.
Yeah, I haven't done
remotely
that part yet. I've only just got it set up, but yeah, so you can proxy one server or proxy multiple servers.
Oh, I could see us using this for different, let's say, purposes.
Yeah. Unified library access. Browse media from multiple Jellyfin servers in one place. Play content straight from the original server. Yeah. Yeah, I want to try it. You got it up? You got it up right now? Is it working?
Yes. That's where I accidentally interrupted you earlier.
All right.
I bet
I'm going to pull it up.
I bet you it's running off his laptop right now.
Yeah, it is.
I see it.
Crazy. Don't go
Great.
crazy.
All right. I'm going to just use the traditional login. Go ahead and remember. Oh, no. Is that not the traditional login? Oh, is it Chris F?
No space in the password, too.
No, of course not. We don't do spaces. We're not here for stinking spaces. There we go. I'm in. Boy, it's fast, Wes. That's on your laptop?
Yeah. And then you should, if you can mute the tab or something.
Yeah, I got it
want to
muted.
try it to see if the video will load.
It's spinning and loaded. Boom. Right into Deep Space Nine. Season 2, episode 13.
So Wes Sneaky had me test this last night without your knowledge, Chris, because he knew he was working on a competing solution, and I think he wanted to win. I gotta say, between the two, Wes is a little smoother. There's no like, yes, I need to trust this crazy human URL, and also it loaded pretty quick.
That's true.
But the coolest feature I saw was user mapping. Wes, you want to ride us through that?
Oh.
Yeah, actually, Chris, if you pull that URL back up, if you add /UI to it,
okay,
I think it'll take you to the management interface.
Oh, yes, it does. The Jelly Swarm admin interface.
Same password, but use Wes as the username there.
I do love our security practices. Okay. Is it Wes P or is it just Wes?
No, just WES. It should be. Oh no, it's admin. Sorry, it's admin.
Oh, okay. Now we know what Wes's password is. All right, now we are in. I see. So I have one server listed. Yeah.
It's a Rust-based app. It's got just a little minimal web server that it hosts, as well as being a proxy that shows its own full Jellyfin UI. And so it's pretty simple right now, really early days for the project, I think. But yeah, you've got servers you can configure, users, and then some basic settings. So the first thing you do, of course, is, well, what are you proxying? And so this is where it's being proxied over a mesh network back to my laptop.
And what is doing
where you could add multiple ones. They have a priority field, which I haven't played with.
How are you getting this public to the internet?
For this demo, this is just running on the proxy is running on
a VPS. I see.
Yep. And then talking over the mesh network back to my server at home.
That is a very nice solution. So you have a VPS that's got a mesh network interface, and then it can proxy these, and it works really well. And it's like 3 fields to add a new Jellyfin server to this.
And then if you go to the users tab, you'll see one thing that's interesting is it does a layer of mapping. So it has its own directory of users, and then you choose how to map those onto the credentials to the actual Jellyfin servers that it's being proxied to.
Fascinating.
So like I was able to map both of your guys' fake proxy accounts onto the one Wes account that I have on my actual Jellyfin server.
Yeah.
And you could do it other ways too, right? But like that gives you a lot of flexibility, I think.
Wow. That's great. This is really, really cool. Huh.
Now, one downside I saw in this early version, I don't know if they're going to try to fix that or what. One part I did have to still set up like a full forward to my Jellyfin instance because everything worked in terms of being fully proxied through JellySwarm, except when I would try to play the media. And it looked like for that, it was still ultimately getting served a link to the backing Jellyfin server. So if you if you were watching the network traffic, you could go figure out like where the backing server is that's being proxied from that same VPS.
Right.
But you don't have an account for it because you have credentials that are only valid for the proxy. And I think eventually, right, it could be that this is able to proxy the media too. I don't know what the full plans are there. So there are some caveats, but I was impressed, honestly, with how well it worked. I was able to test it with doing a Chromecast here at the house. That was totally fine. And it works just fine with the Android Jellyfin app too.
Well, I see it's still actively updated. It's kind of a new project, but it's under active development. Last 4 days ago, things were created, and last week, a bunch of stuff. And it's GPL 2.0. It is JellySwarm. Bring all your Jellyfin servers together. I think this is the route I'm actually going to go for Jellyfin. Because then we could also, over time, we could add each other's servers, which sounds like a lot of fun. And then this tunnel thing I've come up with seems useful for other types of self-hosted services that I want to temporarily make available.
Can we roast your Python server before you switch?
I don't think I have it anywhere public. I'd have to like go get logged into the server.
Oh, please do.
No, we don't have time for that. We don't have time for that. Maybe in the future. Maybe we should do it in the holiday special. I like JellySwarm a lot. So it's LukeAs22 on GitHub, and we'll put a link to this in the show notes.
I did also see just a quick smattering of other things that maybe worth checking out.
Yeah.
Sadly, it has not been updated yet for the latest. Like Jellyfin just had that big new release with the database upgrade and all that. So 10.11. It doesn't support it, but there is a flake out there called declarative Jellyfin.
Oh, this is up your alley.
Yes, right? So basically you can define all your Jellyfin stuff in your NixOS setup. So once that's updated for the new 10.11 version, I think that's going to be killer, especially if you wanted to quickly automate standing these kind of things up, or you just wanted to have a more maintainable Jellyfin.
You found some good ones. You got a couple of other good ones in here, Wes.
So check out JellyHub. It's a web app that allows you to fetch media from all of your Jellyfin servers and regroup it into one place. So there's one place to search for specific media and tells you on which server the desired media is located. So you could kind of see some combo of like JellySwarm and JellyHub. Maybe that starts to get you a little more to like the.
Oh my gosh, this is so great for me because I have a couple of disparate smaller Jellyfin servers, and then ideally
subfins, of course,
right, subfins, and then you'd have like a central fin at the server, like the main fin, and it's also GPL3 JellyHub. Wow.
I also found Jellyman and JellyRoller, which are both like a set of scripts and or CLI utilities meant to like help manage your Jellyfin. So if you do start automating and rolling things out, you can check those out. And the docs were entirely in Chinese, so I did my best to translate it. But MB to local player, which is something I've wanted before, because one of the great things about Jellyfin, right, is it makes it super easy to just download or to get direct stream access to the media without having to fuss with its UI or anything.
Yeah.
Well, MB to local player basically automates doing that, but with hooks to like go back and try to sync your watched status, which is what you lose if you take things out of the whole system.
Oh, that's brilliant.
So imagine just like using MPV to watch your video locally while you're working at your desk and then still have that data in the system.
Wow.
Nice finds. Very nice. We'll have links to all of that in the show notes, of course. Also, would love to hear your crazy network tunneling solutions and security solutions for my setup. Like, maybe if I keep using this, I should build in some security. So boost in and let us know. It's a great way to support the show and share the knowledge. And links to all of this in the notes. Hey, let's go check out joincrowdhealth.com and go over there, give them a little Sunday bump. That's joincrowdhealth.com. And Unraid has their Black Friday sale kicking off in just a couple of days on the 28th. And then 25% off on the big license, 20% off on the I think like the cheaper license, and then they've got also a swag sale going on. They'll give you vouchers for if you buy something like a license. Great time to get Unraid. Go in. You know, we talk about things like Jellyfin and Plex, and it really is a game changer. It can be a real gateway drug to self-hosting, and it takes you about 30 seconds to get it running on Unraid. Something to consider. So go check it out. JoinCrowdHealth.com, promo code Unplugged if you sign up, and Unraid.net/Unplugged. Oh, thank you. Yeah, some fresh booths. We also 32 minutes ago got. Do we have this last? We probably do, right? Secret port boosts from Cauliflower. Nice.
Yes, we do.
Okay.
Confirmed.
Well then, Brantley, why don't you set us up, sir? Here we go. In trees, in twos.
Well, we've got a nice round of boosts here. It all starts with the dude who's abiding. 87,654 sats.
Hey, Rich Lobster! Coming in hot with the boost!
Thank you very much. It says, greetings to all. Long time no boost. I'm left behind, currently in the middle of episode 639 and slowly crawling my way to the most recent one. Chris, not sure you decided on a Home Assistant machine, but I have the blue, and it's been rock solid for 4 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's an Odroid N2 Plus, which on paper it sits at 2.2 watts idle and 6 watts at full load. I have it connected via PoE, and I can see it sips 2.32 watts right now. As for Zigbee, I have an Ethernet adapter. Not sure you can go that route, though.
Yeah. And also he says, do you still use Plex? Yes, because of the remote streaming. Well, so far. But check out Watch State, which will sync them. A tool primarily to sync your back ends, user play state, which is really the thing that's really the big deal.
Yeah,
and it
traps
supports
a lot of people where they are.
Plex, Jellyfin, and Embe. How about that?
Embe?
Yep. And they hit their version 1.0 stable release on October 29th. There's another great tip. That's a good one. I didn't know about that. There's no reason not to have your watch state synced.
Yeah, you've been manually syncing it yourself, watching the episode twice, a whole thing.
Yeah, I just watch them again. By the way, just a quick aside, the Home Assistant Blue is what runs the studio's Home Assistant automation, and it has been very solid. It's not crazy powerful, but the needs here are not as much, so it's been fine. Yes, so I will say, I don't know if they sell it anymore, but I will say it has been a very solid machine. I've been very grateful for the Blue, and I bought it as soon as they announced it. I'll tell you that much. All right. Marcel's here with a row of Mick ducks. How about that?
This old duck still got it.
22,222 sats.
Quacka wacka, it's a treasure. Yippee!
That was way too cheap of a baller boost, so I have some more sats. Thanks for have some more. Thanks for taking a look at my setup last week after the show and the post show. You had a refreshingly balanced take. Still not sure what I'll do. I'm really reluctant to run it in a VM. So far, I've needed that software again. Oh yeah.
Right. At the end of last episode, we took a look at STM32 Cube Programmer, which was proving quite difficult to run on Nix.
Indeed. Well, let us know. Keep us posted. VM could be all right. Maybe a container. I don't know.
Our pal and buddy Jeff comes in with 14,000 sats. Simple request this time. I want to hear that live pew sound. Pew, pew, pew.
Thank you, PJ.
Yeah,
appreciate that.
That hits.
Well, Distro Stew came in with 11,101 sats.
I like you. You're a hot ticket.
Is that a roast sticks? Thanks for roasting my configs. I use Git a little differently, though. SyncThing is my source of truth. My desktop is kind of the command center, so I mostly edit the configs from my other headless servers there. Then, in a server terminal, I just have it run the rebuild switch since the configs instantly sync. Every month or so, I'll actually commit to Git, but this is mostly just for sharing. I generally think Git is too much overhead. I don't want to think about commits, merges, or reverts, just to update a package on a system.
Uh-oh. Fighting words, Wes. Fighting words.
No, actually, I was going to say, I love this. Thank you for sharing, Distro Stew. This is, I love that we have the kind of audience that takes the tools
I see.
and uses them however they want. Right?
Yeah,
like
sure.
Syncing's totally great for this.
But when I do it that way,
when you want, and you can combine the two in a variety of useful ways.
it's fine for them, just not for me. I see how it is.
Well, hey,
I see.
I gotta be the Chris config bar racer. Distro 2's got lots going on already. Distro 2's got a great config.
All right. Okay, all right. A dude trying, thank you, Distro Stu. A dude trying stuff comes in with a row of ducks. That's 2,222 cents. Well, I love the idea of the home lab holidays. I'm currently trying to get everything into IAC and pivoting my home lab to Bootsy. Oh, interesting. Side note, awesome. How many sats to add that bit of Chris saying IDK how the world works to the soundboard? I find that too relatable. Lol. Somebody's got to track it down. Did I say that? Because that does feel how I've...
Yeah, if you've got a FLAC file for us, I mean...
Send us a FLAC.
I can bribe the soundboard guy.
Yeah, Wes does have connections. Thank you, dude. Trying stuff. Appreciate that boost.
Retro Gear comes in with 8,555 cents.
They're real and they're spectacular.
Gents, check out GitHub, SalmonNet. It's a project under that org, Proxmox-NixOS, because it actually works pretty well. I'm running a few VMs on there. It can't be done with modules or Docker containers. Cheers. Oh, and on Soundbites, have any of you seen Spies Like Us with Chevy Chase and Dan Aykroyd from 1985? Full of absolute crackers.
I do know of the movie. I have not seen it. I think there's going to be...
Maybe you could just go put it on your shared Jellyfin for us.
Right? And sit down, and I just need to sit down with the clip machine and just watch the movie, it sounds like. That's pretty great. Thank you, Retro Gear. Good to hear from you.
Yeah, I mean, I have not yet dared to try Proxmox-NixOS, but if I was going to go Proxmox, obviously that's how I'd want to do it. And so having an experience report is super useful.
Okay, all right. This is Proxmox-NixOS.
We have a boost here from Turd Ferguson, 13,333 cents.
Turd Ferguson!
For the home lab holidays, consider a category of systems that do the most with the least.
Oh, yeah. I definitely think you don't have to have a Kraken crazy home lab to enter the contest. You know, it could be a laptop or a Pi. It could, it's sort of a little bit about what you're getting done with it too. Now, of course, we'd love to see the crazy cool setups, right? But I mean, sometimes your home lab's a tiny computer in a drawer. Still send it in.
Crazy cool doesn't preclude the eccentric.
That's right.
I'm open to that.
I think it, in fact, should encourage the eccentric.
There you go.
That's how I'll be scoring.
Thank you, Turd. Appreciate that. Chloroflora is here with 8,123 sats.
Well, I'll be dipped.
How about that? I don't know, Brent. I think there might be a message in there.
Oh, I'm in.
Best secret port boost. Ooh, I think he's giving me a message there. You know what I mean? Like 81, because that's the 8123, the Home Assistant.
The Home Assistant.
I think it's the Home Assistant port, isn't it? Let me double check. I got it right here. 8123. Yeah, I got it in a tab. All right, thank you everybody who boosted in, including those of you who streamed them sats as you listened. In fact, 28 of you collectively helped to stack 53,513 of them Satoshis. When you bring it all together, we got 221,137 sats. That's a pretty cool number. 221137. We really appreciate it. There's a lot of ways to support the show because it's a value for value podcast. Your time, your talent, and your treasure are all very much appreciated. Show's been going on for a long time now, y'all. And one of the reasons is because our audience has made it possible. Between the interactions we get in the community, the support we get via the boost and the membership, but also your listenership. It means a lot to us. We really appreciate it. Fountain FM makes it really easy to boost these days. There's also ways you can go on the self-hosted sovereign route with AlbiHub. Go pick out a new podcast app at podcastapps.com. Not only you get a lot of new features, like the live stream, instant updates, and all that, but you can also boost. It's podcastapps.com. Thank you, everybody who boosted episode 642 of your Unplugged program. Let's keep it on topic this week. We've been talking a lot about media servers, so let's just wrap it up with a pick that's right on point. It's called Subgen, and it auto-generates subtitles, Subgen, for your media, be it Jellyfin, Plex, XMBC. I don't know what you're using these days with your Xboxes and your media centers, but it'll do it. It'll generate subtitles and create a .srt subtitle for any media file that you add. And it can be then, read by assuming you got something that understands SRT files. It's pretty nice. You found this, Wes, and of course it's a Python app. It's been a minute.
Brent, did you...
I'm assuming the way to use this is to process all your media files ahead of time or trigger it if you're getting some new stuff. But I'm assuming with some of the Whisper models being so efficient, you can also use this in real time if you had the right pipeline.
Yeah, I think you could.
Ooh, stretch goal.
I think you could. Again, can we all just get on board with buffering? Like, start your movie, and they're not now for your LAN, you shouldn't have to. But when it comes to content or anything that's getting auto-generated or internet streaming, can we just buffer a little bit? Let me buffer. So many media apps kill this.
This RAM if you're not going to fill it with pre-cached video.
A lot of the media services used to buffer more, and now they buffer less.
I think
bring back that Flash YouTube player because it would buffer.
Bring back buffering.
I feel like if you just played an ad before you got your Jellyfin media playing, then you could do the buffering during the ad time. Have you considered this?
That would be really, really cool. That would be really
we need a Jellyfin plugin that adds our own dynamic ads into it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So there is, speaking of Jellyfin though, Wes, there is some Jellyfin like integration you can kind of do with the Jellyfin webhooks plugin.
Yeah, I'm impressed with this thing just because it is like you can use it in Bazaar or Plex or MB, but Jellyfin, you pretty much just use the webhooks plugin, which is standard. And then I think that's just to like be able to communicate.
Yeah.
Like when you add new media, Jellyfin finds stuff, it can go ping subgen.
Yep.
And then as long as subgen has like the same mounts for the file, so it has the same paths that Jellyfin shares, then it can go off and generate the SRTs.
Yeah.
And like, obviously these software, like there's robust support for subtitles, especially if you're getting them from sources or standard media items that have those out on the internet, or if you're doing pinch flat and your YouTube sucking in software like does that for you. But if you're like me and you frequently go crazy and stand up wild Jellyfin servers, you might not have signed in to open subtitles. You might not have copied everything. You might having a subtitle method of last resort or for random MP4 files you want to stick there. It just seems great.
Very often. And, one of my kids, they just prefer to watch the movies with the subtitles, and not all that has it. So it's really nice to have this as an option. It's MIT licensed, 98.8% all snake. And you can find a link to Subgen in the show notes. Now, Wes, if we said something that somebody wanted to go back and find, or if they wanted to replay a segment, we probably have resources they could take advantage of, right?
Yeah, they just run Subgen on our file. And actually, we do that already. So you just you go check out the RSS feed with a Podcasting 2.0 capable client, which is the easiest way to do it. And we got chapters baked right into the MP3, but also in a JSON file we keep in the cloud. So you get the latest and greatest chapters. But you can also get an SRT or VTT file of your very own and follow along with a transcript.
And it's probably worth mentioning, guys, this is going to be our last few episodes of the year. We're coming in. We have a few things planned still. It's not like we're wrapping up yet, but as far as it gets to like episode planning for us, we are now planning our last few episodes, which means we only have a few more live streams of this year. And as we get into mid-December, some of them are going to be double live stream recording episodes. We will have the holiday home labs coming up. It'll happen faster than you think. So if you get a little time, when you're around on a Sunday, join us over at jblive.tv. We do the show at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern, but you can have the robot converted to your local time at jupiterbroadcasting.com/calendar. It is a special live vibe thing. It's unique in the world of podcasts. And it's not something we brag about or talk about a lot. But do you know any other podcast in the world that has an open mumble room that anybody with a working mic and headphones can join and share their opinion? Now, people don't abuse it, obviously. But it's available. If they tag me in the chat room and they have something they want to say, they can talk. And that is open to all types of people. Now, of course, if you abuse it, you'd probably get kicked out. But it's a really unique aspect to the show. And then you combine that with the live people that are watching and giving us feedback and helping title it in real time. And then the members that finance it and the boosters who give value to each individual episode. It is a very unique thing we are doing. And then to have been going for so many years, right? I mean, we're breathing down on 700 episodes of doing our absolute best every single Sunday to give you the best Linux coverage. And our only bias and motivation is to give the best coverage to our number one customer. And the number one customer is always and has been our audience. And I just think when you combine the mumble room, the way the show is supported, the ingredients, how long we've been going, our focus, and our goals as presenters that we are all three aligned on, it's something very unique. And only a few more episodes of this year will be live. And it gets extra special and fun when you can participate live. jblive.tv, or if you just want to plug it in on a web browser, jblive.fm. We're also on the commercial video platforms for the live stream. And of course, members get the entire bootleg. They get a sense of it, but it's a whole other thing when you hear live. I wanted to make that plug just as we roll into the holiday season and as we bang out all these episodes and we have all this stuff, like we're going to get moving quick and I might not get a chance to remind you again. And it is something very unique and it will not last forever. And it is here right now. And it's something very special in media, in my opinion. Of course, I'm a little biased on the topic. So go check out the show notes for more info for what we talked about today. A lot of good resources. Consider a membership. I will probably have a Black Friday sale soon, but I don't have one right now. But we'd still appreciate if you had a membership or wanted to boost the show, again, with how to secure my crazy tunnel solution. And if you have any questions about it, too, also send those in as well. And check out linuxunplugged.com just so that way we have a reason to have a website, after all. It's not all about the podcast app, although we try to make it as good as possible. Also, links to our Matrix, our Mumble, other community resources over at linuxunplugged.com, and that submission form. That's linuxunplugged.com/holiday for the automatic form, and linuxunplugged.com/oldfart for the markdown version you can send in via email. Thank you so much for joining us on this week's episode of Your Unplugged program, and we'll see you right back here next Tuesday, as in Sunday.
Well, be dipped.
Okie dokie. Thank you, Drew. Appreciate you. Gentlemen, we can all stop now. All right. Now we just got to title this thing, boys. We got to give this thing a good old...
Confirmed stop. All right.
All right. Boop, boop, boop. I really like that jelly swarm. I think that's going to be my preferred way to do my Jellyfin solution. I don't mind throwing up on a VPS.
There's a lot of promise for it.
I already have kind of like a support VPS for other Jupe services, so I think I could just throw it on that. It's pretty low key, right? And then over time, as you guys build out Jellyfin collections, we add it, and it's pretty sweet, actually. And then for like other things, like Lube Logger or whatnot, that's what I can use the tunnel for. And I'll, and I could just have different buttons for different services.
You totally could.
Yeah, this is going to be great. All right, so last chance chat room before we kick off the boating season.
There even is some, I forget, I think there's a Go app. There's a couple of these out there, like generic, like turn a set of commands into easy run by API. So
yeah.
There might be some like these days with vibe coding too, like what you're doing just probably makes a ton of sense, especially if you want to do custom integrations, but I wonder if that's worth exploring for future stuff.
I also wonder, like, once I go all in on Nebula completely for my home lab network, is this maybe just something I do like with a VPS and just have a way to easily spin up? Maybe it's just like a build, right? Like I have different build. I don't know. But there probably is a version 2 of this that's Nebula based, I think.
Nebula and NixOS, baby.
Peanut butter and jelly. All right.
With the declarative Jellyfin set up on top.
Zig my B, the sofa switch, Jellyfin as a service, the Jellyfin button. Okay. I don't know if I want to make it completely Jellyfin focused, though it was a lot of Jellyfin talk. But I'm just concerned if you don't care about Jellyfin, it sort of tunes you out of the episode.
That's fair.
And it is more of a networking trick that I'm using to get to Jellyfin. That's my case for it. It's my case, although there's a lot of titles coming in. Good job, everybody. Holy crap. Well done. Ba-bangin'. Also, what the hell's going on with the Bitcoin price? I didn't get a chance to buy the dip yet. I want it to go lower, and this is not what we talked about.
Now? Oh, 87?
Yeah. Yeah. So it... I mean, I don't mind a pamp sometimes, but I wanted, cheap coins. Christmas is coming up. Damn it.
Yeah, right.
Look at that.
My Bitcoin gift card's going to be smaller.
Look at that. I should have bought the Christmas coins. Look at that. That's just this morning. Stupid.
It's going to 0. You'll be fine.
Stupid. Ugh. I thought I was hoping, low 80s, high 70s, I would snag up some coins for the kids for Christmas. All right. Do we have enough titles? Are we ready to vote? You ready?
Yeah, Python roasting on an open
wow.
fire. Boom.
Look at all these rolling in. Look at all of these rolling in. Good job, everybody. Damn, I'm impressed. All right, let's begin voting. Give them a look. It's now time for Boat Trek.
I feel like they're still coming in.
Yeah, I think they are.
Did you forget to feed the gerbils to the bot again?
There's not enough on the wheel. They're sleeping. The Jellyfin maneuver. I'm not totally... These are a lot of Jellyfin titles, and I'm not sure I want Jellyfin in the title just because I feel like it excludes people that don't care about Jellyfin.
You probably should have put that at the top. Just saying.
I know.
That would make sense. But,
I should have said that, huh? I should have coached.
Well, I was more just because even me, my brain circuit is basically just going, what are we talking about on the
Jellyfin
stream right now?
Yeah,
okay,
well, there is a school of thought of just lean into it, and because it is a lot of Jellyfin. If they don't like Jellyfin, they probably should just check out. But then at the same time, it's like, but this network trick you could apply to any service.
True. Yeah.
So I'd like people to know. And Swarm's pretty cool, but
Network Swarm.
A backdoor anyone could love.
Oh my god, the implications.
That just makes it better.
Let's just ship that one.
Yeah, we're done, people.
Wait, no, I love it. I love the double. That's what I like about it. Okay, a backdoor
Tunneling home for the holidays.
What?
Tunneling home from the holidays. That's cute.
That's not bad. Is that in the chat room right now? That's not bad. Yeah. Tunneling home for the holidays.
Nice, Otter Brain.
I kind of like that. I'm writing Tunneling Home down for the holidays as a potential winner. I think that could be as close as we're going to get.
Good.
Yeah. It does mean more like
leaning
into the holiday things.
Yes.
Keep that in mind for future episodes.
I know. It's a little early.
Well, holidays could be a Thanksgiving or whatever.
And we are barreling into our holiday home lab special.
Yeah.
Thanksgiving's only a week away.
I know.
Not even.
What?
No,
it was a couple of weeks ago.
Hey, I have a question for you. By the way, the way your Thanksgiving works, is it like ours where the date floats, but it's always the same Thursday of the month, or is it a fixed date on Canadian Thanksgiving?
Yeah, I think we're more like a fixed weekend. That's more how it works for us.
Okay. Huh. All right. It just doesn't make any sense.
I'm not saying it makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Okay.
I mean, calendars don't make sense for the most part.
That's true.
So it's about the
Nor
day,
does timekeeping.
It's about the A. It's about the A.
It's about the turkey, really.
All right. I think it's going to be hard to beat Tunneling Home for the holidays, right?
Do you want us to try?
Like Tunneling Home for the holidays. Is that what it was? Not tunneling into the holidays. Tunneling home for the holidays. Do we like that?
Sensitizing with Home Assistant.
I could go for that. Tunneling home for the holidays.
Home Assistant for the holidays.
No, I think I like tunneling. I think it's going to be hard to beat because it
encapsulates the whole show.
Yeah,
it does.
Home Assistant was really what I used to activate the tunnel, but you could just SSH in. You could curl it.
Vibe code yourself a website.
You could literally activate the tunnel with a curl URL to the box and just activate it.
I think like you send a magic packet with Netcat to a specific port.
I do think that would have been a fun way to go. I was hoping you'd come up with a Netcat solution, but I do like Jelly Swarm a lot. So
Yeah, I got distracted because I saw Jelly Swarm. I was like, this is too cool
No,
for me
it's
not
good.
to see if it's going to maybe be viable.
Mm-hmm. No, it's good. It's real good.
You can have like an occupancy sensor that turns on the server. So whenever you're in the TV room, it turns on for you.
Oh, hello there, folks over at YouTube. See a couple people in the chat. Thank you for joining us.
Sorry we ignore you over there all the time.
Well, you doubled. You sound cool.
Yeah, you
though.
did.
You sound cool.
Yeah, so
though.
I'm back now.
Oh, I like it. Got a couple of people
being doubled.
Got literally a couple of people on Twitch. Although I don't know if my stats are very good. Restream, now says we're online. For half the stream, it said we weren't offline. So, what does it know? What does it know? Hardly nothing.
Deedrill had a great suggestion for you, Chris.
What's
he
that?
said if family has the power to turn on the service, you might consider doing like a timeout. So
I
after,
like that idea a
4
lot.
hours or something, just turning the server off. Because are they going to remember?
What?
Do they care as much as you do?
Could totally do like an automation that, like, once the button's been pressed, it starts like a counter countdown. Countdown.
They should send you a report.
You can do an automation off of an automation. So like I have some of mine for my lamps that turn on when I get home. They turn off automatically after 15 minutes of being activated.
Uh-huh.
I just like the idea, as a kid, before like efficient bulbs, parents hassling you to turn the lights off and whatever. So now you could hassle your kids
Right.
about leaving the tunnel open.
Right. That's funny. That's funny.
Now kids.
You're burning my Ingrok credits.
Yeah, exactly.
Where my grandparents would say, what do you think, I got stock in the electric company? I didn't know what it meant for so many years.
Yeah.
And now I get it. But I feel like what would be perfect, and I'm sure there's a way I could do this, is something like it creates a 1 hour or 2 hour window or whatever it would be. Then 10 minutes maybe before the tunnel's going to close, it sends a push notification to my phone. And if I tap that push notification, basically it takes me to something in Home Assistant that resets the automation again to another hour or something. Like basically a dead man switch, where if I don't press it, the tunnel closes.
Yeah.
That could be cool. This is what I'm saying about using Home Assistant. You see what I'm saying? Like, it really gives you a lot of power. And it's whatever you can think of or not think of that makes it possible.
Well, you're already used to those automations.
It's true. Yeah. What was that?
I said this is why people don't have money.
Yeah. Stupid toys.
Because of you, Chris.
Yeah.
It's because of you.
Yeah, I know how you feel. I know how you feel. Well, this has been great. I really like this, because more and more things have stupid web browsers on them that can go to HTTPS sites, but they can't really do much else. Like some of them,
do much else.
you can't even add a bookmark or anything. So a nice, simple URL, and you get Jellyfin. That's pretty sweet. That is pretty sweet.
I got a question for you, Chris.
Mm-hmm.
Typically around the holidays, you like to do some kind of upgrade or home project to make your life better. And it's like, I finally got time to do something. You got anything on the mind yet?
I suspect I won't complete it, but I'll definitely be tinkering more with that 1 liter PC. Getting that more to a state. I really want to put it under some load, because I'm not just replacing the Home Assistant, and I'm not just replacing the Odroid. I'm combining them. I'm doing a combo. And there's a lot. Just in the load side, there's Ursat's TV, and there's Jellyfin. And then there's all of the automated media backup systems that are curating things and downloading and extracting my backups and moving them to the right place on my file system and whatnot. And
Extracting milk from your knee.
Yep. And so there's that all has to happen. And while Home Assistant has to remain super responsive. So, we'll see. We'll see. It may be impossible. I may be trying to achieve the impossible. But if I could get rid of my Raspberry Pi and my Odroid, and I could get eventually that 1 liter PC on DC, I bet you it still washes out. And then maybe the move might be, I don't know, but maybe the move might be to try a CM5 in the yellow. I haven't done that yet. But it's on a CM4 now, and Peeps wrote in and said they put the CM5 in there, got a nice little boost.
I bet, yeah.
I don't know. That would be if I try it on the 1 liter and it's not sufficiently performant. But I suspect it's going to be better than the yellow. We'll see. Just because everything's faster.
I can second using, you guys talked about it last week, using libvirt to emulate, or rather run Home Assistant in a VM. That's what I do. And I just did a full backup of all the configs on Home Assistant and just spun it up, restored, and boom. Didn't really have to do much to get everything back up and running. It was very smooth.
Okay, that makes me feel good.
That's great.
Yeah, that's good.
I don't have Zigbee, of course. Like I don't.
Right,
I don't
but they
those
do
fancy
have. That
radios,
stuff's
but
a little
still.
more complicated because the controller has to have like stuff. But they really seem to have nailed the backup and restore, which is kind of why I lean into using their little HAS OS stuff, just because they've designed like the whole setup now. Like when you first launch a Home Assistant instance, there's an option just to restore from a backup and all of that. And then they've integrated the backups into Home Assistant Cloud, which is, they didn't charge me more for that, but they're now storing my backups for me encrypted. Like all of that's really sweet. So I'm going, well, I guess I'm not 100% on the idea. I'm still very tempted because my Home Assistant setup doesn't change much anymore. I'm very tempted by a fully declarative Home Assistant configuration.
No,
I am very.
Here we go. We need content for next year.
You know why? Is because anytime you do a system migration, although this may be different with Home Assistant, but otherwise, anytime you do a system migration, you think to yourself, shit, I wish this was a declarative configuration, be it Ansible or whatever. It's just when you're moving data and applications to a new host, it is it's a whole other level of confidence and ease than it is with something that isn't declarative. And so, when I'm doing this stuff, I'm just thinking to myself, like, I'm going to be moving, I know I mentioned this before, but I'm moving like 25, 30 Docker containers. And the apps and data are all over the place and all of this. And it's just like, I wish I could go, and I could go read all the compose files and all this kind of crap, but like, just if it was in a config file, I just read it all, there it is, and that's always how it was on every box and all of that. It just is a lot more replicatable and reproducible and transportable and recoverable, et cetera, et cetera. But I don't know. I think I'm probably going to use the OS and just rely on their backup and restore stuff. It's hard for me.
Once they offer a generic proxy and API, you'll use that for your magic switch.
Maybe. It's hard for me because I'm not a big proponent of projects developing their own operating systems to host. Mm-hmm. So that rubs me the wrong way. And then the fact that
you really have to buy into a lot.
Yeah. So I'm running their own OS. And I'm also reliant on their data backup and recovery mechanisms, and not the ones I could construct myself. However, time has gone on, 6 years have gone on, and it has proved to be very reliable. They seem to be good stewards of the underlying system, and has been the superior way to run Home Assistant for me. So even though I'm not inclined, here I am doing it.
At least if you do go virtualized, it makes you have another easy way to do backups.
True. That is a very good point. Very good point. All right. I think we're done here, gentlemen.
Woo.
Thank you, Mumble Room. Appreciate you. Hope you had a good Sunday.
Yeah, and hit me up on the side about some vehicular information that I kind of caught just the tail end of when you came into Mumble. Curious a little bit more about that. So...
Okay. All right.
He's talking about the van undercoating. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, that.
Thank you, guys. Have a good rest of your Sunday.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Appreciate you. Don't forget, call the launch, okay? God.
Call the launch.
How come you don't call the launch? Call the launch. Call your mom and call the launch. Okay, bye, guys. All right. Thank you, everybody watching live. Appreciate you giving it that live vibe. Hanging out in that matrix and whatnot and watching on the different stream platforms. Thanks for spending a little bit of your Sunday morning with us. And then...
Now go call the launch.
Yeah, go call the launch. Why don't you call the launch? And then, of course, as we wrap up, we take a moment to thank our members who not only are critical for us doing this, but are also a source of inspiration. When we're having a bad day or something like that, we get out here because we know we got members out there and we want to make them happy and we want to keep producing for them. It's a source of strength and a source of support. We really appreciate you, members. And I hope you have a great Turkey Day if you do support it here in the States. And we'll see you back here next Sunday.
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
Delicious things to eat.
The popcorn can't be beat. The sparkling drinks are just dandy. The chocolate bars and the candy. So let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
Whew. Feels like I was extracting milk there from my knee.